and and share the live. Today we're talking about you gave your gift away. Now, one of y'all on here, clearly this pertains to you. Like I said, I wasn't feeling my best today, wasn't feeling my most energetic, and I've just been dragging, right? And there's some other things that I need to do, but I committed to doing a live every single Wednesday. Um, and this one's a little bit different because, obviously I don't know any of you guys personally. I don't think I have any clients on here or anything like that. This is just the gift back into the world and the space. And like I said, I am an executive coach, and I help leaders get to their next level and to get to their desired outcome. And clearly, there's somebody on here that needs to get to your desired outcome. And you've been asking and trying to figure out what's kept you from getting there. And apparently, today is supposed to get you that information. And so today, we're talking about how about you gave your gift away. Now, what I mean by this is that every single human being is walking around with a gift of some sort. Something that you do really well, something that you're naturally inclined to do, something you've always been able to do, something that comes easily to you. That's how you know where your gifts are. All right. And then you have your skills. Now, your skills are things that over time, you've developed, right? Your skills can be, maybe sales skills. For instance, like my gift is teaching, right? But I have strong sales skills. All right. So I have that skill because, I started my career in sales. And even to this day, I coach and develop a lot of sales professionals or people who are expected to perform. And they're selling something, whether they're selling themselves, whether they're selling, their ideas, their music, their businesses, their books. There's something about their brand that they're selling. So that's a skill that I've learned. And I can meet with a person, speak with them, talk with them about a product, talk with them about a service, things of that nature, and get them to sign up for the service. That's a skill that I've obtained. But a gift that I have is teaching, right? A gift that I have. So that's a natural gift, but also a spiritual gift that I have, which is teaching, breaking down concepts in a way to where people can understand it and easily apply it to their lives. And y'all, when I'm telling you, this is how you know that something's your gift. Without even recognizing it, I've been teaching in every area. I teach dance. I love to dance. And I was like, oh, other people like to learn how to dance? I started teaching dance, teaching people how to do African dance, kizomba, body movement. I teach a senior dance class on Saturdays, lots of teaching. I also teach Bible study. I have a Bible study called Bad Girls Gone Good for God. Why? Because one, I love the Bible. I love reading it, but a lot of times I didn't understand it. And I recognized weren't a lot of people that see things the way that I do, or that are like me, or that have my story, that are breaking down the Bible. I also recognize a lot of people have never actually read the Bible. They've only read like bits and pieces, but there's only a small percentage of us that have literally read it from cover to cover, line by line, word for word, from front to back, the root or the toot or whatever. There's only a really, really small percentage of us, okay? And I don't care if you walk in a church, there's still only a very small percentage of people who have read every word of the Bible. And that's why you understand why, for a lot of people, it just doesn't make sense. And let's think about it. Like when you read a book, you're meant to read the entire book. If you only go in and you open up a fiction book and you turn to chapter 10 and you read chapter 10, you're not going to understand the whole thing. None of it's going to make sense. So imagine you go to chapter 10 and then you go to like chapter 50 and then you read like chapter 1 and then you read like chapter 14 and then you read like chapter 7 and you're like, none of this makes sense. This must be wrong. Well, Fred, you didn't really read the book, right? But the hardest part is it's hard to get people nowadays to commit to even reading IKEA instructions, let alone a book that has thousands and thousands of pages. But what I try to do is teach people and understand the concepts in a way that makes sense. Now, because I don't know, that was just something that I was missing. But that's a gift of mine. And when people come, actually I have Bible study tonight at 7. If you want to do that, join. It's great, right? But I also teach leaders, whether they're owners of companies or their employees, and I teach them how to have the right perspective, the right paradigm. I teach them leadership, how to gain influence, how to use their gifts, how to apply their gifts, all of those things. So Sales is a skill of mine, something that I obtained from years and years and years and years and years of practice, right? Teaching is something that is a gift of mine, something that I've always done well. And I don't even know how. No one's ever officially said, hey, this is specifically how you're supposed to teach. It's just something that came naturally to me that I'm able to apply. Every single one of you guys on here has a gift. Now, like I said, someone on here, this message is for you because I mentally wrestled with coming onto this live and you see that I'm here, stomach hurting and all. Okay. And there are times to where people don't reach new levels because they gave their gift away. What does that mean? I don't mean you literally gave your gift away, but I want you to kind of think about, like, you ever have a gift and someone returned it? Thank you so much, husband, for liking the live. So picnic eater person, husband, somebody was on here asking to take me to dinner tonight. And I said, hopefully I'm having dinner with my husband. And so that's the difference between a gift and a skill. So some of you guys are thinking like, man, where's my breakthrough coming? You've been praying for breakthrough. You've been wishing. And like I said, you don't have to be a believer to get something out of this. I just teach people using biblical theories because, look, you go into businesses and they use every other theory. At least this one's not going to get you bound. I don't know why people act so sensitive about that, because you can go in and learn meditation, Reiki, all this other stuff in businesses nowadays. So why not? Why not? Right? So, and this is the great thing. We can all go to New York Prime on him. Exactly. He said he's in Ohio. So picnic guy, my husband said, you can take us both out to New York Prime on you. So, I would like some nice steak. Oh, he gone now, baby. He laughed aloud. So anyway, so the thing is, when it comes to gifts and when it comes to your skills and all of those things, sometimes we give them away. And what I mean by that is we look at the gifts and we underappreciate them, right? And so what's funny is today I was praying. I was like, okay, Lord, what do you have for me today? But really, when God has something for me, he really don't have it for me. He have it for y'all, right? He has it for y'all, which is good, right? And so I got two scriptures. No, the first scripture was for me, absolutely, right? But the second one was definitely for y'all, which is 1 Corinthians 12, and it talks about all of the different gifts. Now, I read this scripture, and I'm going to read it to you guys, right? And then I'm going to tell you about the dream that I had, and then that's when I knew this is what the message was for today. For whoever is on here that you just been asking for information and why, and just know that God loves you, because your girl was feeling weak today. All right. So now there are a variety of gifts but the same Spirit, and there are a variety of services but the same Lord, and there are a variety of activities, meaning ministries. When you think of a ministry doesn't necessarily have to deal with, obviously we're talking about the Bible, so they're talking about the church, but when you think about it, it's just activities, right? And ways of doing things. You can think of it as like a different types of businesses. Okay. So there's many, where did I go? I need to put my glasses on. So there's many different activities, but it's the same Spirit. Okay. Where did I go? Here we go. All right, there we go. And there are varieties of activities, but it's the same God who activates them in everyone. So meaning everything that you have, right? Every single thing that you have, and no matter what it is, whatever the gift is, God activated it in you. So it's important. And everyone doesn't have the same thing, meaning you have a gift that other people don't have. And this is the cool thing. And this is how you know something is a gift, is when you use it, you don't even think that it's a big deal. Like for me, it's nothing to come on here and speak to people and break down information. I can go and talk to strangers. I can go public speak. I can just do whatever. And I have no sense of shame, no sense of fear, no nothing. I don't care if it's one person or 10,000. If they're like, hey, Yannick, I need you to go address these people, I'm like, okay, let's go. And I'll talk to every single one of you like I've known you my whole life. It's just what it is, right? That's a gift. Other people will go on stage and like, there's a million people here. And I'm like, I'll see a million people like, what up though? Y'all don't know me, I don't know you, but we're about to get to know each other, right? That's an idea of a gift. And right now, I want you to think about, what is a gift that you have? What is a gift that you have? What is that thing to where other people may look at it and be like, how do you do that? And you're like, I mean, it's nothing. Some of you guys have a gift of putting things together. My mom used to talk to me about how some of my uncles would be able to like take apart lawnmowers and turn them into like go-karts and little cars, and they would just do all kind of stuff. She's like, look, they were smart. They just understood the engineering behind things. She was like, and they would go around the neighborhood and get people's old broke down lawnmowers, and they bring them to the house and they take them apart and they make little cars out of them and ride down the street with them. Y'all, people don't just wake up doing that. Right? And some of those same family members to this day, you can bring them something and they will tear that thing apart and figure it out. Don't let it be a car, motorcycle, or something with some sort of motor. That's a gift. Because no one sat down and taught them how to do that. Some of you guys are gifted singers, gifted artists, gifted this, I talk about my youngest daughter. She's a really, really gifted artist. She knows how to draw. She knows how to do all those different things. And no one sat down and taught her how to draw. But when I see the things she made, I'm like, girl, you did that. and then I thought she was like using a stencil, and she wasn't. That's a gift. No one taught her that, right? It is something that God placed inside of her. So every single one of you guys have a gift. Okay. Now this is the thing though, is and then you go into spiritual gifts and things like that. But today's not, or tonight, this hour is not about Bible study. So I'm going to get to the part that makes sense, or that it pertains to what you guys are doing. All of it makes sense. Indeed, so all of these gifts make up the body, right? And all of these different gifts make up society. Everything that society needs, everything that your city needs, everything your family needs, everything that the world needs is filled with a bunch of humans that have all of these gifts that are meant to come together. Everyone brings their gift to the table so we can create a full body, a full society, a full country, a full world, to where it's like Captain Planet. With all of your gifts combined, now we have this whole thing. Okay. Now, what if you read in the Corinthians chapter 12, he's like, look, the foot wouldn't say, well, because I'm not a hand, I don't belong. So meaning you don't go and say, well, I'm not a doctor, so my gift isn't that important, right? I'm only a plumber. Or you wouldn't say, and then he goes like, and that doesn't mean that it's any less part of the body. Just because you're not the brain, right? You can't walk around with a brain and, not have two lungs, right? And just like, well, because I'm not the brain, I'm only the lungs, I'm not important. Or because I'm this, or because I'm that. And so either way, everyone's gift is important. Whatever it is that you want to do is important. Now, this is what's so funny is this is the dream that I had, y'all, and this is how I know this is important for someone. I don't know. It might just be one of you, and if it's you, you need to say something so I can go ahead and just talk directly to you, because I went to sleep and I had a dream, and in that dream, because I was like, what is this? Like, I was like, Lord, I've read this scripture 1,000 times, and in this dream, it was like I was at this house, and then I got home from the house, and I had and there were all these like open presents on my front porch. And apparently they were like gifts that I'd given to someone else. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, are they mad? Are they this? Are they that? And I just remembered like feeling like, oh, okay, they were offended by something. So they left all their gifts here. And so I'm sitting here and I'm going through it, and it's like, oh man, this is really cool. This is really cool. But apparently they mad. They don't like it. Da, da, da. So they brought the gifts back. Okay. And then I woke up, and then I was like, oh, I get it. That's what you want me to talk about today. So sometimes as leaders, right? As leaders, we'll sit there and we'll have a gift and we give it back. Meaning we don't honor it. We don't use it. We don't do anything with it. And it's the same as giving it back. You know, when someone gives you a Christmas present and you're like, I asked for a Louis bag. This is a Coach bag or something like that. And then you end up returning it to the store and exchanging it for something else, right? The only issue is when it comes to your gifts, you don't have the opportunity to exchange it. You're gifted in the areas in which you are gifted. Now, the issue is that a lot of us in society, we've come to honor certain gifts and then we deem other gifts as being less important. So you may say, and especially in the world of social media, you may look at, social media and you say like, oh, everyone who's really successful, they're all this, they're models, they're attorneys, they're doctors, they're all in finance, they're doing blah, blah, blah. Right. What, like, that's the new thing, like 6'5" finance, da, da, da. Look, ladies, let me tell y'all, I've been an executive coach for a long time. And a lot of a lot of these personalities that y'all are making social media posts about, I've worked with them. And I work with them. They tell me their deepest, darkest secrets. Ladies, you don't always want 6'5" finance, all this other stuff, okay? Some of them are crazy, okay? Honor every gift. Honor every gift. So sometimes you may be in a position to where you see all these things where everyone's like, oh, they're so important, they're so great, and people just see them with such honor. But really, God is saying all of this stuff is important. Like, it's cool for everyone to be a physician, and physician, that is a very honorable position, right? They are healers, which is important. But if everyone's pipes were to break right now, you don't need a physician, you need a plumber. And if you don't have a good plumber and there's sewage coming all through your house, guess who you're going to have to go visit very soon is a physician. And we had all types of plagues break out because we didn't dispose of sewage properly, AKA all the different plagues and things like that that took out thousands and thousands of thousands and thousands of people all over Europe at different points. So what I'm saying is every gift that you have is important. Now, the thing is that you don't have the opportunity to really exchange your gift. Your gift is your gift. Now, you can gain a new skill, but it's never going to go as far as when you utilize your gifts. Your gifts are the things that make room for you. The gifts are the things that you use when you don't want to have to toil like crazy. You don't want to have to scratch like crazy in order to create a new path for yourself. Right? If you want to live in a life to where provision is coming, you're growing your business, you're growing your ideas, you're creating things and you have flow, the best thing that you can do is use your gifts and find unique ways to utilize your gifts and to utilize your gift in every capacity as possible. And this is something I've recently had to reconnect with, even with myself, of like, hey, what are your skills? What's that one thing that no one does better than you? Y'all, I made this offer and literally, like, I've had so far, it seems like 100% closing ratio on me offering and using my gifts to help people, right? Which was, helping to develop people's employees. And so we may look at our gifts and say, oh, that's nothing. It's not that big, but it's huge. And once you really embrace your gift and you don't just give it back because you're like, oh, this thing's not that important, or just because everyone in society isn't raising it up, doesn't mean it's not important. Everyone needs everything. Like, we need teachers in society. And it's all fine and dandy till all the teachers are left. And now we're like, y'all, what are we going to do? What are we going to do with our kids, right? Our kids can't read, right? But teachers probably like, look, y'all have been acting like we weren't important for the past 20 years. So don't try to beg me to come back to the industry now. Now they'll hire anyone who says they want to be a teacher. So you can't look down on the gift that you have. And you also can't look down on the gifts in others, right? Don't give it back. If you are an employer or a leader at some point, look at that person's gift and make sure that you're not looking at it from a place to where really you're just being prejudiced, because sometimes we will honor certain gifts over others because they're things that we see as being a little bit more shiny because of our own vanity, because we are a respecter of persons, meaning we do look at certain people higher than what we look at other people. And you'll have someone that's a gift and you'll miss it. You'll miss it. Or you will see the speck instead of the gift. I had someone do this exercise with me. I'm actually going to do it with you guys really quickly. And what you do, this is really, really eye-opening for me. And this is also the key to happiness and one of the keys to preserving your relationships. And there was a time in my life where I was, and I still have to always keep this in check and battle with this a bit. But there was a time in my life where all my cup was always half empty. Always half empty. I found something wrong in everything. And this was a big turning point for me. I had someone do this. Because this is also how we miss people's gifts. They said, "What do you see?" Now, everyone who's looking at this, tell me what it is that you see. And now, if you're saying a dot, you're absolutely right. And so this person was like, "Well, tell me, what do you see on this paper?" And I was like, I see a dot. I said, "That's it?" "Yeah, I just see a dot. You didn't draw anything else. I just see a dot." And she said, "So you mean you don't see all of this white that's here?" And sometimes we miss people because all we see of them is whatever the white dot is. Whatever it is you don't like, whatever their issue is, right? And you miss their gift or the gift of that person because you missed everything that was here. Now, the funny part is the dot takes up the smallest amount on the paper itself. The one thing that's wrong with them, the one thing you don't like, the things that aggravate you, right? It's just like one detail. And if you hyper focus on this one thing, you'll miss all of this. Now, you can think of it as in a person, maybe you have an employee and there's a thing or two or three that really aggravates about them. So you miss the gift of them, or you don't recognize their gift because all you see is this part. So you miss it. It can be in a partner, a spouse. It could be in your life. In this particular time and moment, this person was talking to me just about life. And at the time, all I saw were the things that were off. So, and imagine there were like 3 dots here, 3 things that were going really, really wrong, right? When you only look at these things that are going wrong, you miss everything that's going right. People who do this, right? And this is when she told me, like, this is the key to happiness. People who only look at this tend to always be miserable and dissatisfied because all of their focus is going towards what's wrong. So that means you can literally, if you don't change your perspective, you can literally go through life hyper fixated on what's wrong and miss everything that's going right. And this is where all the happiness is. This is guaranteed to be in life. No one's going through life with none of this ever, right? That is set aside for heaven. Okay. Right? Because if that were life, we'd have nothing to look forward to in the afterlife. So if you're hyper fixated on these things, typically, like I was, you're going to deal with a lot of anxiety, a lot of frustration, a lot of dissatisfaction, a lot of whatever, because you're missing the sweetness of life, and the sweetness of life is all in here. Right? These are the things that just get on our nerves, things that are meant to teach us a lesson are up in here, right? These are just our little battles or whatever. So this is also how we miss the gift in people. And this is also how we miss the gift in ourselves, to where if you look at yourself and you only look at the things you're not good at, you miss everything that you're great with. Everything that you're great with. All right. Did y'all get that on Instagrams? Yeah. Okay, cool. So you want to make sure that you're not doing that with yourself and you're not undervaluing what it is that you really bring just because you have this going on here, right? All of your gifts are in here. This is actually the biggest part of you are your gifts, your skills, the light you bring, the wisdom that you bring, the energy that you bring, right? And you'll miss all of this if you're just focusing on what you're not doing well. And so a lot of times you'll get opportunities put in front of you, right? And it's really just God putting provision in front of you, opportunities, connection, and we'll miss it because we're like, well, I still have these things going on. So you don't engage, you don't have a lot of confidence in yourself, you don't talk big about yourself, you don't go after it because you're focused on these dots. But not knowing that he put you in that place and you're given the opportunity, knowing what these things are. Like, I know you're not the most organized. I know you're not perfect, but you've got all of this. We're working on these things, but you got all of this. All I need you to do is show up with this. Okay? Like you have on a whole outfit, maybe those dots are like here, ain't nobody gonna see it anyway. So those are the ways that you can, figure out how to be happier in life and how to, really appreciate where you are and get more satisfaction out of life. And you're going to get far more returns doing the things that way rather than the other way. So that's really, really important, guys. And do that same thing whenever you have, and people in your company, different employees, things of that nature. Make sure that you're recognizing the gift that's in them. Now, this is what I normally see when it comes to people undervaluing their gift. The first problem that I see, hello, Owen, one of the first things that I see is that one, people just don't recognize what their gifts are. And this happens a lot of times if you grew up in scenarios where you weren't affirmed or if it wasn't like really, really prevalent. Like sometimes there are some gifts that you have to kind of dig a little bit to see, like, hold on, I see what that is. Right? Like some people have the gift of, reconciliation. Like maybe you know how to get people to negotiate, to come together, connection, that sort of thing, right? Sometimes, what's up, DV Phil? Sometimes people have a gift, that it could be like we were talking about, automotive. You can put things together, you can figure things out, you can take things apart, you understand mechanics. Some people have the gift of peace to where you know how to bring peace to every scenario, every environment. Sometimes it could be teaching. Maybe you're an educator and you're looking for, something different that you can do to supplement your income or whatever. And you're looking at this thing, and you're just like, oh, well, I mean, of course I know how to do that. And you're looking down on it because it's something that you do every day, not knowing like, look, parents really need help figuring out how to do this. They got to really learn how to teach their kids math. They got to really know like ways to break through with their children who have difficulty learning XYZ. And you're thinking, oh, it's just something small, and really you need to put it on video and sell it and let people know about it. And you're like the answer to their prayers. Okay. Some of you guys have the gift of beauty. Maybe you have a really, really good face, or maybe, you're really, really good at aesthetics and you know how to make people look good. Right? Like there's some really, really talented makeup artists out here that know how to just get everything done. I'm giving my face a break on makeup for like the next couple of weeks. So clear, but and I got a little bit under my eyes. But I put some lashes on and some lipstick on. But there are people that can really beat a face and get people prepared for something like this, right? So you may have the gift of that. There's just always something that people are gifted with, but what's happening is you're just leaving your gift on the table. You're exchanging it and you're devaluing it and you're saying, oh, that gift's not that important. And because you say that it's not that important, you don't use it. And most of the time, the reason we say that, hello, Tobias, welcome to the live. And the reason that we say that is mainly because we're comparing our gifts to other people. And we've let society tell us what's important. Let me tell y'all, and like I said, I am called to people in the marketplace, leaders, whatever. Do you know what's important? Not what people say is important. It's what they pay. What can bring profitability? What can make money? The goal of every business is to solve a problem to the point where it brings you profit. And here's the thing. If everyone's doing it, usually the profits go down lower. So don't look down on your gift just to look up at something that everyone else is doing. That's why they've got to scrap and scrape and everything so hard to make a profit. And they've got to go out and buy all their customers and spend all this money on advertising and all this other stuff. Been there, done that, right? When the goal is to profit. The goal of every business is to make money. And typically, when you use your gifts, you don't look down on your gifts, then making money gets easy. It gets really easy. But you can't look down on that thing. Don't assume, oh, I'm just a really good painter. Oh, I'm just really good at laying flooring. Do you know how many people are terrible at laying flooring, messing up people's houses? Or only somebody taught me how to do tile work, but you know how to do amazing tile. Guess what? It pays. It profits. You don't need a lot of investment, right? Because guess what? Your clients are paying for the labor, for the product itself, right? Don't look down at your gift. Maybe you do make an amazing pizza. People love to eat. I know I do. So never, ever, ever look down at your gift and don't exchange it. Don't give it back. Don't say, this one's not that good. I'm just leaving it on the table somewhere. I'm leaving it on somebody else's porch. You do something with that. Don't do it. Use your gifts, y'all. Use them. And every single person watching this has one. But you can't look at it and say, well, this one's not that, so it's not that important. No, society needs your gift. Some of you guys are gifted with children. You know how to get through and work with children. Do you know how big of a deal that is for parents? And how big of a deal it is for society to work with people that know how to work with children? Please. So just take the time, write out what your gift is and say, hey, what could I do with this? What's needed? Right? Where are there holes? How do people find value in this? And don't base it on what you want to do. Base it on what's needed. Base it on what's needed. What will people pay for? What will bring a profit in? Right? And use that profit to go and do what you want to do. So y'all, that's all I have for y'all today. Like I said, today was going to be short. But I think it's heavy hitting.